Gentlemen, hey, welcome back to the show. I believe that we are currently live right now. It is a lovely, what day of the week? It is a Wednesday, July 23rd, folks. I have a bombshell show ready to go for you guys today, talking about all of this breaking news, Obamagate information, and also how this entire Obamagate situation relates back to the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein narrative. I think there's an angle here how all of this actually ties back to Epstein in a way that you guys are going to want to pay attention to. But first, I realized just as I was sitting down to go live with today's broadcast that Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, is going to actually get up here on stage any moment and talk about all of this stuff. Also, Epstein and Obamagate and all of this blah, blah, blah. Okay, so today's going to be kind of a special show. We're going to start the show off today listening to Carolyn Leavitt. She's going to give her spiel. We're going to watch her take questions. And then you're going to have to listen to my spiel. And by the way, you guys are going to like it. Today is going to be a very interesting, curious show because we have a lot of news to cover, an entire angle to cover here that nobody else is talking about. Once again, how does this stuff relate to the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein situation? And I'll tell you what it does in a very curious way that, by the way, most certainly the Democrats don't want you to know about. So I just noticed that they flipped on the audio for the broadcast here, which means probably any second now she's going to come on out. What day of the week? I need to mute this. So, by the way, thank you all very much for tuning in today. I appreciate it, folks. If you are new, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please make sure to like the video. While we wait, this is kind of the situation. Anytime we go live and we're waiting for Donald Trump to come out or for the press secretary to come out, we're kind of on their time. We're not on my time. So we're just going to kind of hang out and wait for them to come out. Until then, hi, everybody. How you guys doing? I actually have a vet appointment for my puppy. I have a 15-week-old puppy, little Argos, the German Shepherd. This vet appointment is in about 2 hours. I might have to cancel the vet appointment today. He can go tomorrow. It's okay. He's getting his puppy vaccine, so it's fine. We can delay this until tomorrow depends on how long this press briefing goes on, but that's fine. It's okay. When there's breaking news, you got to cover the breaking news. So, hi, we have Champy, we have G-Boo, we have Mike, Cat World. Guys, I have some breaking news here I want to share with you guys. Sugar Boops, I know you, hi. Going forward, maybe in the next couple weeks, I'm going to start multi-broadcasting, not just on YouTube every single day, as we've been doing. It's been going very well. We're going to start multi-broadcasting as well on Rumble. So every day, depending, and it's fine. If you don't like Rumble, you're not missing out on anything. It's going to be the same show, but we're just broadcasting on 2 different locations. So for those of you that really love Rumble, we're going to start doing that every day here in the next couple weeks pretty soon. But, if you're just a YouTube guy, that's okay. We're going to be here on YouTube every day anyway also. So no harm, no foul. So that's some big exciting news though for those of you that like that. My Rumble name is Matt Morris TV, the very same name on Rumble. No justice until FBI gets a search warrant for Big Mike's jock strap drawer. Listen, I was talking a moment ago, I was alluding to this narrative that we are going to break today. I have some breaking news for you guys today that nobody else is talking about, regarding how the Epstein stuff is related to this ongoing Obamagate scandal that everybody's talking about right now. Now, once you hear what I have to say about this, and I would talk about it now, but I don't want to get into it and then have Carolyn Leavitt come out and then we got to stop halfway through. So I apologize. The plan was to just tell you guys what it is, but we need to wait a minute. I apologize. But anyway, you're going to really understand why that Mar-a-Lago raid in 2022. It was August of 2022 when Joe Biden's FBI raided Donald Trump's place at Mar-a-Lago. Why did they do that? What specifically were they looking for, folks? Now we have an answer. We have an answer, and it's going to make sense here. I think Carolyn Leavitt is coming out any moment now. So it's like, oh, I really want to tell you guys. I really want to get into it. That was my plan. I sat down at my desk. I'm going to go live. I'm going to let everybody know. But Carolyn Leavitt is having a press conference. But it's important to listen to this. We could, I guess, not listen to it. It is important to listen to this because most certainly she's going to talk about all of this. We might get some more insight. So today is a big show. That's right. But we gotta give it time. We're not in a hurry today. So But once again, thank you all for tuning in. Hello from Mobile, Alabama. Hello. I'm up here in the great state of Washington. In about a month, I am moving to Idaho. So my beautiful office here. If you guys want to see something while we wait a minute, I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of a secret, okay? You see my beautiful office where my arm cuts off halfway through. You want to know why? Take a look. It's a green screen. I hate to ruin the immersion for everybody, but it actually is a green screen. But anyway, so we're going to be moving here to Idaho. That's going to be a big pain in the ass, honestly. It's going to be like a 7-hour drive. We have to pack up all of our stuff and move, but it's going to be worth it in the end. Worth it in the end. Hi, Rune Lady. Good to see you. My daughter's in Washington State. Hey, my daughter too. No, you know, Washington is one of these good states, but the problem is it's all the people that live here. It's full of radical progressives, you know, so. But it really is, it's a beautiful state. It's a great state. Oregon, too. I grew up in Oregon. I'm a real West Coast guy, you know. But it is a shame what's happened to the West Coast. Guys, like I said, I apologize. I always feel bad. I feel guilty when we go live and we're sitting here kind of stalling a little bit. Listen. We are waiting on Carolyn Levitt. Any minute now, Carolyn Levitt is going to come out. She's going to talk to us. She's going to lay down some information. So we're going to go through that. And then after we listen to what she has to say, then we have really honestly, one of the biggest bombshell shows, live shows I've ever done. We have some big time information, some breaking news information today that I want to go through with you guys. Somebody said, I want to see what the puppy looks like. Well, I think I can show you what the puppy looks like. This is our little probably 15-week-old German Shepherd puppy named Argos is his name. And as you can see, he was chewing on that piece of furniture there. He's ripping the house apart. We're trying to keep him busy, but I think it's an impossible task. We were out having fun in the backyard last night. This is my 2-year-old son, almost 2-year-old son. He's technically 1 still. And he was cranking out some pull-ups in the backyard last night. It was back day. He's already becoming a bodybuilder. So good for him. So far, so good. No, we have a good life. Everybody's happy. We have a 4-year-old daughter, almost a 2-year-old son, a puppy, beautiful wife, happy family. We have a lovely live audience. What more can you ask for than a lovely live audience, right? Of all the blessings in the world, a nice wholesome live audience on the YouTube chat. There's nothing better than that. What more can you ask for? Hello from London. Hello from London. Hi. I've been to London a couple times. We are praying for London. We're hoping London kind of turns around here a little bit. How many pull-ups can I do? God, I don't know. I'll be honest. I used to be a real big gym guy. Okay, in my early 20s. Now I'm old. I'm 31. I'm a dad. But in my early 20s, I was a real big bodybuilder, gym buff type of guy. And I used to go to the gym every day, sometimes 2 times a day. These days, all I do like 200 jumping jacks a day just to kind of stay a little bit fit. But I haven't done pull-ups in years, to be honest. I could probably do like 20 or 30. I don't know. I have no idea. Hello from Australia. Everybody is here today. Wow, from all over the world. Hi from Sweden. Christian Adolfsson. Hi. My wife is a German woman, and she used to work in Sweden. My wife actually is fluent in Swedish. She speaks German and Swedish and English. And she spent a couple years working in Stockholm. So I've never been to Sweden, but I've heard that Stockholm, my wife loves Stockholm. So, hey, maybe someday we go on a vacation to Sweden or something. I'm not sure. But really, I just want to see Carolyn Levitt. Carolyn Levitt, let's go. Bring it on out. Come on. The White House is always late. They're always doing stuff late. Come on. Listen, punctuality. It is a good virtue to have. You want to be punctual. You don't want to keep people waiting. Now I feel like an idiot. I was running around the house. I was like, run to the refrigerator. Gotta get a drink. Gotta go to the bathroom. I was like literally speed. I was bolting around the house because I said, I gotta go live. I gotta go live on YouTube right now. I don't want to miss the press conference. And now I'm sitting here for 10 minutes like an idiot, you know. I probably could have afforded to walk around the house and not sprint around the house, but it's okay. We're sitting here having fun. That's the way that it is. Someone should inform Obama that he has the right to remain silent. I think, a lot of people, they say nothing ever happens, nothing ever happens. Nobody ever gets held accountable. I think Obama is not going to have a good time. And it's also not him. It's his entire squad. Okay, it's Comey, it's Clapper, it's various other lower-ranking officials in the CIA. It's maybe even Hillary Clinton. It might even be Hillary Clinton. She is tangentially involved in this. So we got to see. We got to see. I really do think that people will get held accountable at the end of this. I think so. You have a beautiful family, Matt. Hope your move goes smoothly. Well, thank you, Susan. I appreciate that, Susan. I mean, you guys know moving is always a pain in the butt, but hey, you do it and it's over, and that is what it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. A military tribunal. Well, folks, listen, we saw President Trump yesterday. He used a pretty powerful word. President Trump used the word treason. Treason. We have a pretty long history of executing traitors that have committed treason. In 2000, and I'll give you a couple examples here. Do I want you to call the vet? Yeah, Kathy, sweetie, this is my beautiful wife in the chat here. Yeah, you should probably call them and tell them that we're not going to make it in today. If you can reschedule for another day, I would appreciate that, dear. Thank you very much. President Trump said that Barack Obama committed treason. Treason, that's a big word. Like, that's a serious word. That's not a light allegation. And by the way, I think he's correct. He is correct. It is treason. And it's not speculative. Like, we have the information. We have the intel. And really today, if you guys stick around, I feel so bad. I feel bad. It's like, hey, everybody, stick around. Listen, I promise you, hand to God, pinky swear, I have a hell of a show for you guys today, really. But I don't want to get into everything and start unboxing everything here, unpackaging everything with you guys until the press briefing is done. So I feel a little bit bad. I do apologize because it is such a good show, and I'm on the edge of my seat to share it with you guys. But we need to wait. We do need to wait. I'm sorry. We have a super chat here. It says, no justice until FBI gets a search warrant for the... Okay, we saw that one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again. T Junior. I'm a junior also. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a big time super chat. Thank you very much. I'm gonna heart these ones. And also, funny guy, why do you think the Trump admin is going to go after people in Russia? House, but not pattern list. Treason seems more serious than Epstein list. I think there's a couple typos here. Listen, funny guy. I feel like I'm baiting you guys so hard, but seriously, trust me on this. Once we get through today's press conference at the White House here, I think I have a lot of answers relating to the Epstein and the Obamagate scandal, how they tie together, how one kind of ties into the other. I really think we have a very interesting show today. You're going to like it a lot. If you're also curious about what is going on with the Epstein stuff, why has a lot of this stuff unfolded the way that it is, I think you're going to get a lot of answers today, later on in today's show. I really am sorry. I feel bad because I know what's going to happen. Okay. If I start talking about all of this stuff that I'm alluding to, within 60 seconds, Carolyn Levitt is going to walk out on stage, and then I'm going to have to stop. And then it's like, I don't even want to get into it yet. So nah, I don't believe you. I'm not going to wait on your rambling. Well, then don't watch the show. I don't know what to tell you. Well, then go away. I don't know what to tell you. You don't need to be here. Don't complain about it. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to tell you what's going to go on with today's show. I'm trying to let you know. If you're going to be mad about it, then don't watch. I don't know what to tell you. So, hey, T-Sply. Hey, good to see you. Hey, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That's the way that it is. I don't know what to tell you. So Carolyn Levitt is going to come on out here any minute now. Any minute now. And then, after Carolyn Levitt is done talking, And she's normally up here for like an hour. So total transparency here, because she's going to give her monologue. It's going to be a half hour, and then she's going to take a half hour of questions. So it is going to be about an hour. Okay, so here's what I'll say. If you are tuning into the video of this broadcast later on in today, 8 hours from now, if you don't care about Carolyn Leavitt's press conference, you can go ahead and skip it. You can skip into the video. It's fine. You can skip to the good stuff. But also, the reason why we're watching the Carolyn Leavitt press conference today is because I think we are also going to have good stuff here. I think the entire broadcast is going to be full of good stuff. So maybe don't skip it. Maybe just watch the entire show today. Today is going to be a longer show. But I do want to say, for everybody here that is reasonable tuning in today, thank you all very much for your patience. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Leavitt is great. Yeah, I'm sure we are going to get some information here. So listen, as they say, Patriots, stand by, stand by and stand down. Okay, stand down and stand by. Matt, where are the moderators to keep an eye on chat for you? I mean, listen, I decided maybe we don't even need moderators because all of my viewers are so well behaved. I really think that we have the best viewers. This is the best community ever. I've got only the best people here, the highest quality people on the entire website of YouTube. Do we even really need moderators? Everybody's well behaved. Also, hey, my wife is watching. She is a moderator. Be careful. Watch out. Okay? Watch out. Guys, we have some breaking news here. Phoenix Landing Studio has just said that Carolyn Leavitt is hot. Thank you for that. I appreciate that feedback. Excellent, excellent. Breaking news coming out of the live chat. Thank you for sharing your opinion with all of us. Excellent. The most breaking news. Stop promoting controlled opposition. I guess we can quickly address this here real quick. I do see this narrative, not from a lot of people, but from some people, that hey, you need to stop talking about this Obama stuff. This Obama stuff is a distraction. It's a waste of time. It's a fake narrative. You're whatever. It's controlled opposition, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I just want you to know, I'm just going to let you know where I stand on this. This is a very big deal. This is a very important deal. And I honestly, I don't agree with you at all if that's how you feel about this. I think it is a big deal if a sitting president, Barack Obama, coordinates with his intelligence community to fabricate a fake foreign collusion narrative in order to subvert the democratic will of the American people. And then after he failed to influence the outcome of the 2016 election, then he doubled down on it. The deep state, the Democrats, they doubled down on it, and they pushed the very same narrative based on bogus, fake information, the Steele dossier, which we now know is fake, in order to effectively try to carry out a coup against the sitting president of the USA, which was Donald Trump at that time. I think this is a big deal. You might not think it's a big deal. I think it is a massive deal. And by the way, when I say it's a big deal, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about anything else. I'm not saying that other things aren't also big deals. There are a lot of big deals. You can have multiple big deals going at the same time. But this is a big deal. And also, like I've said, I've tried to make this clear today. We have some breaking news. I'm telling you, stand by. I want to get through the press conference first. How does this story with Obamagate, everybody's calling it Obamagate, how does this relate to the Jeffrey Epstein narrative? It does in a very big way, and I haven't seen anybody else talking about it. We're going to talk about it a lot today. So if you are invested in the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein narrative, you guys know I am. I've talked about it a lot over the last 10 days. I still am talking about it. If you are really curious, hey, listen, Epstein, we got to talk about Epstein. We are going to talk about it today insofar as it is related to what is going on today with the Obamagate scandal. If you look at the timeline, year by year by year, I'm about to shed some information on this. I think a lot is going to make sense for you guys. But once again, I want to wait. I apologize. Like I said, I feel bad. We're not going to get to that until after Carolyn Leavitt gets up here and gets on stage and gives her information today. So there's that. But listen, real quick, you guys might remember from the 2020 presidential election, President Trump was actually on the debate stage. I have a video of this I'm going to show you guys a little bit later in today's broadcast. President Trump, when he was debating Joe Biden in 2020 on the campaign trail, 2020, President Trump was talking about this very scandal. In 2020, President Trump, he kind of knew what had happened. They manufactured the Russian collusion hoax. It was Obama, the intelligence community. Trump knew what they had done, but he didn't have the concrete evidence. And really, you guys might remember President Trump's first term between 2017 and 2021, I guess technically. Trump didn't have as powerful of a cabinet as he does now. The Trump administration was not as cohesive, as effective, as powerful as they are now. Trump has a team. He's got people like Tulsi Gabbard. So Trump kind of knew what was going on back then, and he was talking about it publicly. I have a video I'm going to show you, but he didn't have the files. He didn't have the paperwork. He didn't have the entire report put together to give to the American people. Now he has people like Tulsi Gabbard, and they've got it, and they have released it. I see this guy in the chat that says, "Don't protect PDF files, Matt." I just gotta say, real quick, listen, dude, I'm with you. I think we need more transparency with this Epstein thing. Listen, you guys have to give me some credit here. On the right side of the aisle, I have been talking about the Epstein stuff more than probably anybody else. In fact, I've been talking about it so much, I think I've actually pissed some people off. They're saying, hey, stop talking about it. I have talked about, I've got 8 hours of live broadcasts, numerous videos talking about the Epstein stuff. So don't tell me, hey, Matt, listen, shut up. Do me a favor, pay attention, keep up to speed, shut up. Now, beyond that, I'm with you. We do need more transparency. I am dissatisfied with everything we know or the stuff that we don't know, okay? That being said, do you expect me to believe that Donald Trump is a PDF file? Of course not. Of course not. Listen, anybody that is saying that Donald Trump is guilty, he's a PDF file, that is just your imaginary speculation. There is no proof to suggest that, to confirm that. That's your imagination. Now, I guess it could be true. I don't think it is. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. Okay? So as we handle all of this Jeffrey Epstein situation, and like I said, we're going to talk about this a lot more today in today's broadcast if you just chill out and stay tuned. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit sick of all of these just like insane people in the live chat. So maybe I just need to start banning people. I have done my best. I've made a real serious, genuine, concerted effort to try to be as level-headed and understanding and try to get all the information and piece together what's going on here. I really have tried to just really take a mature approach to this situation. Some people are just insane. Some people are just insane with how they're approaching this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this guy in a timeout. He's just nuts. He's nuts. Ban him. Deported. We don't use the word ban. We use the word deport. Matt, you are wasting my time. Listen, I don't know if you know this. Listen, you don't need to be here. If you don't like the show, then you don't need to be here. Like we are sitting here waiting for Carolyn Levitt. I'm telling you what's going to happen on later in the show. Man, what is it with some of you guys and this sense of entitlement? What is going on? And by the way, it's not most of you. 99.999% of you are great. I love you guys. Really, I do. But man, there's the 0.1. They're not sending their best. Hey, I don't like your list. Then leave. Then leave, dickhead. I don't know what to tell you. Then go away. Okay? Sorry. Sorry. Deport them. Listen, the problem is that I don't have, maybe I do need some moderators. Maybe I do need some moderators. You're right. Listen, just like how on the southern border, we have Border Patrol, we have ICE agents. You know what? Maybe I need deportation squads. Maybe I need some ICE agents in the live chat apprehending these guys and deporting them. Because it's like, what's going on? They're out here, they're annoying people, they're committing crimes, they might be part of some sort of gang organization. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, listen, we need ICE in the chat. We need to hire some ICE officers in this chat to deport them. Get them out of here. I don't know where they came from. But really, like I said, it's only 0.1% or less. But, it's kind of human nature. Have you guys noticed if you get 100 compliments and then one rude guy, your brain, it's like just the way the human brain works. You focus on the comments, on the one negative comment. You could have 1,000 positive comments, And then there's one negative comment, and it's like, hey, screw that guy. You know, that's just human nature. I guess it's a flaw. It's a personal fault that I have. It's a character flaw that I have. So I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, no, that is kind of the way that it goes. They're paid protesters. Yeah, you know, they're probably being paid by George Soros. Yeah, you're probably right. They're probably globalist. Yeah, something is going on here. I'll tell you. You know, you call me. Oh, the camera's moving. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't know what to tell you. This is like a week ago when all of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff was really popping off. Everybody was talking about it nonstop about a week ago. I was noticing a lot of bots. I was noticing a lot of bot comments saying certain things about this stuff. And it wasn't just on my channel. I actually sent a message to a couple friends of mine that are also making political YouTube videos. And I was like, hey, are you guys having weird bots in your comment section during this Epstein stuff? And they were like, yeah, I thought I was the only one. No. So there was like a week ago. I haven't seen it in a couple days, but I don't know. There was some weird bot activity going on in the comment section on the YouTube videos. Some weird stuff going on. So I don't know. We live in a weird world. And by the way, Kevin, I'm going to take a look at the super chat here. Kevin, should we allow them if they plead guilty to treason and turn state's witness to flee to the EU for political asylum after all testimony and renounce USA citizen? No, of course, no. That's not accountability. No. Listen, let's say hypothetical Barack Obama, James Comey, whatever, etc. They plead guilty to treason. They don't get to run away to Europe or to Israel or to whatever other country. No. They are, they need to be held accountable as traitors, as carrying out a treasonous coup, as really effectively trying to carry out an insurrection. I think an insurrection is a proper word to use here. No. It's not, hey, you are guilty of treason. Now you get to go on a lifelong trip to Europe. No. Accountability, that is not what accountability looks like. I think, are these the same? Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, so by the way, Kevin, thank you very much. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. Matt is favorite American hillbilly. You know, I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not a hillbilly. I'm not a redneck, and I wish I was. I wish I was a redneck or a hillbilly, but really I am not. I wish I was. I hold the rednecks and the hillbillies in very high regard. I do. I respect them a lot. But I'm not. I wouldn't even try to pretend to be one. It would be false advertising. Maybe, you know, I'm more of a Pacific Northwest woodsman type of guy. I'm not a redneck. I'm really not. I'm not a hillbilly, but I am. It's a distinct type of American. The Pacific Northwest forest mountain type of guy. That's more my style. But I don't know. We're wearing flannel. I wear flannel every day, and I wear wool socks. I have wool socks on right now. It is summer. It's like 90 degrees outside. I'm wearing wool socks. Why? Because that's how we do it. Because that's how we do it, baby. So that's the type of guy I am, I guess. I don't know. Hey Q. There it is. Q the storm. Thank you. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dude, hey, Carolyn Levitt. Let's go. Clock is ticking. Mrs. I think she's married. Mrs. Levitt. I'm a liberal. I'm not. I'll tell you what, though. I'm surrounded by them. In fact, I've actually, I've talked to my wife about this. I've made jokes about this. You know, probably one of the reasons why I am so, like, radically conservative, or you could even call me regressive. I am deeply regressive. They are the progressives. I am a regressive. I'll own it. I think one of the reasons why I've turned out the way that I have is because I've grown up my entire life surrounded by radical progressives. I've been surrounded by every, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school. I went to university in Portland, Oregon. Do you know what that did to me? I went to school in Portland, Oregon, okay? I got my degree in Portland, Oregon. So I was down in the trenches. You could not be more surrounded by these people. I remember I had classes, university classes in Portland, Oregon, and I would have Antifa members show up to class. Like, they were my classmates. They would show up in class. They were wearing all black. They would have Antifa patches on their backpack. One of them would show up to class barefoot. They were walking around barefoot. Why? I don't know. It's disgusting, but that's what they did. Listen, I was surrounded by these people, so I actually think that's one of the reasons why I've kind of turned out the way that I have turned out, because I've seen how bad it is. Okay, I've seen firsthand. I know what they do. I know what they do in real life. I know. Look at Matt. He was born with a chainsaw in his hands. We love your webbed feet. We love our webbed feet. Love you. Hey, Grandpa Barney. Good to see you, by the way. Thank you. One of the big time supporters. Thank you, Grandpa Barney. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Man, we really do have a great audience. We really do. Thank you guys for being here. But it would be a little bit greater here if Carolyn Levitt would step out on stage and start giving us some information here. So, any day, Carolyn Levitt. Any day. I mean, this was supposed to start 41 minutes ago. We are now 41 minutes late. So, any day now. Matt, you liken LGF. I don't really know what that means. I don't know. I will tell you something. Fun fact about me, though. I can go and walk in the forest. You know, every forest is different, but the Pacific Northwest forests we have up here, I can go out in that forest and I can list off about 100 different plants. Oh, that's that. This is that. This is that. You know, you can just kind of learn what's out there in the woods. I really am. I love the woods. Oh, okay. They are putting up some presentations here. They've got the PowerPoint slides ready to go. Maybe soon. Carolyn Levitt, let's go. Any day now. Bro, what's your favorite food? You know, this might come as a surprise. Really, it's like a nice bacon cheeseburger, a nice hamburger, bacon, cheese, hamburger. You cannot do better than that. You know, no offense to any other type of food out there, but really, like, you cannot do better than a nice, good bacon cheeseburger. You really can't. In fact, I had an idea the other day. Imagine this. In order to become a U.S. citizen, in order to become a naturalized U.S. citizen, you need to sit down at a table, you need to eat a bacon cheeseburger, and you need to drink a glass of whole milk. And then, if you do that, welcome into the country. You are a United States citizen. Welcome. You know, maybe we need to do a little bit more. We can call this bacon cheeseburger nationalism. We can call this whole milk bacon cheeseburger nationalism. It's an idea, and, you know, maybe you need a little bit more than that also, but, you know, maybe it's a good start. Listen, if you want to be an American, you gotta have a bacon cheeseburger. You gotta eat the bacon cheeseburger. You gotta drink the glass of milk, the whole milk. It's the only way. Rip Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, I saw Ozzy Osbourne died yesterday. He was, what, 73? 76? Terrible news, rest in peace. Yeah. Yep. You know, I was never like a big death metal or like, what would you call it? Like hard rock guy. It's not really my style, but, you know, he was most certainly very influential. He had a big impact. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. 76. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I was reading on Twitter that he was actually like a devout Catholic, I think, or maybe just like a devout Christian, maybe not Catholic specifically, but you know, that's kind of a shocker. I guess that was surprising to me, at least. Hey, you never know. Is this live? This is live. This is live. Welcome to the live show. Right now, if you were tuning in, guys, real quick, once again, we are waiting for Carolyn Levitt to come out. This is an official White House press conference or media release, press release, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to get some information here today very soon about the ongoing Obamagate scandal, presumably about the Epstein situation. And also, after Carolyn Levitt is done talking, I also have a big time show planned for you guys on top of that, where we're going to talk in detail about the current status of the Obamagate scandal. And also, we're going to have a little bit of a tie-in. How does the Epstein stuff tie into all of this? So I'm telling you guys, today is going to be one hell of a show. But first, we have to take a listen to what Carolyn Levitt herself is saying about all of this. But today's going to be a good show. Seems like something is going on here, but maybe not. Well, we're just going to keep on waiting. I'm keeping tabs on this. Keeping tabs on this. Literally nothing will happen to Obama. Dude, I think you might be wrong about that. Of course, you might be right about that. But I think there's a serious chance that you might be wrong about that. I think it is entirely possible that, man, okay, now I'm thinking though, if I was at a betting table, if I'm at Las Vegas and I've got $10,000 in cash, place a bet. Does Barack Obama get held criminally accountable for any of this? You have to go all in. Yes or no? All in. You've got 10 grand. What would you place the odds right now? Oh, there she is, folks. It's like maybe 50-50. I don't know.
Hello.
Here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have a special guest with us today who will speak momentarily. But first, I would like to begin with a message from the White House to the families of the victims in the brutal murder case in Idaho, who were sharing their heart-wrenching stories about their loved ones before the court today, and addressing the evil killer who took 4 precious souls. We are so sorry for the grief and the pain you have experienced at the hands of such a vicious and evil killer. Our nation grieves with you, and we will never forget the precious souls who were lost in this horrific act of evil. If it were up to the president, he would have forced this monster to publicly explain why he chose to steal these innocent souls. May God bless and watch over everyone affected by this unimaginable tragedy, especially the parents who lost their children. Let me begin with a few scheduling items off the top. Later this afternoon, President Trump will deliver the keynote address at the Winning the AI Race Summit here in Washington, D.C. President Trump believes it is non-negotiable that the United States wins the AI race, which is why today, President Trump will announce a bold and comprehensive AI action plan to sustain and enhance America's global AI dominance. Under President Trump's leadership, our country will lead the world in AI to secure a brighter future for all Americans, massively grow our economy, and protect our national security. The president will also sign 3 executive orders at the event this afternoon. On Friday morning, President Trump will travel to Scotland for a working visit that will include a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Starmer to refine the historic U.S.-UK trade deal. On the topic of trade, yesterday, President Trump accomplished something no other president has ever achieved. The president secured and announced 3 major trade deals with the Philippines, Indonesia, and Japan, all in one day.
President Trump worked out a trade deal in which he is selling rice to Japanese people. Let the record show, this guy knows how to make deals.
Are now being opened to American industries for the very first time, and harmful trade barriers are being broken down. Thanks to President Trump, these countries around the world are agreeing to open their markets to American-made products and goods for the first time, which will lead to a boom in sales and profits for American businesses right here at home. As President Trump said, he will only lower tariff rates if a country agrees to open their market to American-made products. If not, they will continue to face tariffs and pay a steep price to do business in the United States of America, which remains the best market on the face of the planet. Also this week, the president officially marked 6 months here at the White House. He made big promises to the American people on the campaign trail last year, and he has unquestionably delivered on those promises in record time. The president has defeated the Biden inflation crisis to make America affordable again. Core inflation is currently at its lowest level in 4 years, and prices for everyday goods are falling. The president's pro-growth policies have fueled massive job growth across our country. Since the president has taken office, our economy has added nearly 700,000 new jobs, with native-born American workers accounting for all job gains. The president has put the economic needs of families and of workers first. He signed the largest tax cuts for the middle class in American history, including no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security. We have also seen the president unquestionably deliver on his promise to secure our southern border. He has ended Biden's illegal alien invasion, and for 2 months in a row, 0 illegal aliens were released into our country. The president has also, as you all know, initiated the largest mass deportation campaign in American history. The president has also restored law and order to make America safe again, another campaign promise he vowed to the American public. The United States of America is currently on track for its lowest murder rate on record, following this shift from the last administration to the Trump administration. The president has also ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy. U.S. oil and natural gas production are now surging, and summer gas prices reached their lowest level since 2021. The president has also rebuilt our military, another campaign promise. He just signed the largest military investment in decades to modernize our armed forces with cutting-edge technology to replenish our stockpiles and provide American troops with the best equipment in the world. The U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force have all reached their recruitment goals months in advance. The president has restored America's standing on the world stage, brought back peace through strength, and brokered numerous peace agreements to end wars. Again, all of this in just 6 months. He obliterated Iran's nuclear program to end the war between Israel and Iran, got NATO members to raise their defense spending to 5% of GDP, and secured a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, as well as brokering a historic agreement between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The president has already received 3 different Nobel Peace Prize nominations for his peacemaking efforts. Again, all of this progress, all of these accomplishments have occurred in just 6 months. We are truly just getting started, and we look forward to working with all of you for the next 3.5 years.
Okay.
On another matter, over the past few days, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people. While publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power, in private, former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump. The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later used as the justification for baseless smears against President Trump in an effort to try to delegitimize his victory before he even took the oath of office.
That's a big problem.
The truth is that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the American people from the very beginning. And the worst part of this is Obama knew that truth, and so did all of the other corrupt officials involved in this scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and many others. Director of National Intelligence Gabbard's report further confirms what we already knew. There was no collusion, no corruption, except on the part of Barack Obama and the weaponized intelligence agencies at the time.
That's right.
The Russia hoax was a blatant lie, all ginned up by Democrat political operatives that were signed off on by then President Obama and leaked to the news media to launch a years-long witch hunt against President Trump and his first administration. Allies of the president, including his own son, Donald Trump Jr., were disgustingly smeared as Russian assets, and some even had their lives destroyed because of this vicious lie. The president's first 2 years in office had this fake distraction hanging over it, and endless resources, time, and political capital were spent having to debunk these lies from the highest levels of our government. Now, nearly 10 years later, thanks to the declassification of documents by Director Gabbard, the truth has finally come to light. And this truth vindicates President Trump, his family, and his many allies and associates who were smeared with defamatory lies. President Trump was right from the beginning about all of this, and we are grateful that justice can be served. Now, we have even more damning evidence implicating those who tried to sabotage a duly elected president and did grave material harm to our republic. Thanks to additional important work done by CIA Director Ratcliffe, Committee Chairman Rick Crawford over the past few months, A newly declassified 2020 report prepared by the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, which DNI Director Gabbard has declassified, found that the intel community did not have any direct information that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to help elect President Trump in 2016. And in fact, Russia was actively preparing for a Hillary Clinton victory. But at the unusual direction of Barack Obama at the time, the intel community published implausible intelligence suggesting otherwise. Why? To sabotage the incoming president. This is truly one of the greatest political scandals in American history. And reporters at legacy outlets, some of which are sitting in this room today, like the New York Times and the Washington Post, were ridiculously awarded Pulitzer Prizes for their perpetuation of this hoax. It's well past time for those awards to be stripped from the journalists who receive them. It is not journalism to propagate political disinformation in service of the Democrat Party and those in the intelligence community who hand over out of context and fake intelligence to push a false political narrative. I will now pass it over to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, to speak more about all of this, and then we will open it up for questions afterwards.
All right.
Tulsi, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice. The records that we released on Friday that were ODNI records, Senator Chuck Grassley's release on Monday of what is known as the Clinton Annex, which was an appendix to the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's 2018 report, as well as the House Intelligence Committee's majority oversight report that we're releasing today, all come back to and confirm the same report. There was a gross politicization and manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration intended to delegitimize President Trump even before he was inaugurated, ultimately usurping the will of the American people.
Not good.
I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency.
Oh, wow.
In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department.
Which religious organizations?
They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers.
Heavy tranquilizers.
Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were quote-unquote planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election.
They couldn't even do it.
On December 5th of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency. The Presidential Daily Brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts. This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to quote-unquote new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama DNI James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request. The House Intelligence Committee oversight report that we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the president, President Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter.
Only 5.
This is not something that occurs in the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community.
5 corrupt loyalists.
The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee oversight report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote-unquote, unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's oversight report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment.
That's a big
stating,
problem.
quote, we don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected.
There you have it.
Yet, the Obama-directed assessment was published on January 6, 2017, which explicitly stated, quote, "We assess Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's election chances, when possible, by discrediting Secretary Clinton and publicly contrasting her unfavorably to him." End of quote. The CIA and FBI, then led by John Brennan and James Comey, expressed high confidence in this judgment, while the NSA expressed moderate confidence. Yet, as the report we released today shows, the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, did not cite any report where Putin indicated helping Trump win was an objective. The opposite is true. With regards to the Steele dossier, we now know that one of the source documents that the Obama administration used in the creation of this intelligence assessment in January of 2017 was none other than the discredited, unverified Steele dossier. The House Intel report states, quote, "Contradicting public claims by then CIA Director Brennan that the dossier was not in any way incorporated into this intelligence assessment. The dossier was referenced in the intelligence assessment's main body text and further detailed in a 2-page assessment annex."
Yep.
John Brennan lied, and he denied using this dossier in this intelligence assessment that President Obama ordered because he knew it was discredited. It was a politically motivated, manufactured document. He directed senior CIA officials to use it anyway. CIA
detain him
officer told the
Detain
House
Obama
Intelligence
immediately.
Committee staff, as they investigated this, quote, "The director of the CIA,
Immediately.
John Brennan, refused to remove it, and when confronted with the dossier's many flaws, responded, quote, 'Yes, but doesn't it ring true?'" Even the bipartisan Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report published in 2020 criticized the FBI's handling of the Steele dossier, noting its completely unverified nature and purposeful sidestepping of intelligence community procedures in its use. Now, President Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and others, including their mouthpieces in the media, knowingly lied as they repeated the contrived narrative that was created in this January 2017 intelligence community assessment with high confidence as though it were fact. John Brennan, as CIA director, stated in a memo to his agency staff in December of 2016, saying, quote, "There is strong consensus among us on the scope, nature, and intent of Russian interference in our presidential election."
That was a lie.
This was reported by NBC News, confirming that Brennan, along with James Clapper and James Comey, agreed with the CIA's assessment that Russia intervened to help Trump win the presidency. As Obama's Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper was tasked with overseeing the creation of this assessment in January of 2017 by President Obama, and he expressed confidence in its findings. In a 2018 interview with the Harvard Gazette, he talked about how he provided Trump with the same classified assessment that President Obama received, which included the high confidence judgment that Putin directly ordered the hacking and election interference. Clapper then went on to add, "I think they, the Russians, actually influenced the outcome." This is a brief summary of the details that you'll find within the House Majority Staff's report in their investigation into the Obama-directed January 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment. That leads us to the very same conclusion that we announced in the release of our documents on Friday.
Arrest him.
The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic.
Do it.
It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence, to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election, and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming President of the United States, Donald Trump. Thank you.
This guy needs to be arrested.
Thank you, Chelsea. And we do want to take questions on this topic while the
Arrest
director
him.
has time for this topic.
Detain
She will
him.
leave. I'm happy to take questions on other matters after that. But if anyone has questions for Director Gabbard, you're welcome to ask them. We'll start with our new media seat as always. Emily, go ahead.
Thank you. And Director Gabbard, this one is for you. Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
Yes.
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI. to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former
The
President
evidence,
Obama?
correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Ed, go ahead.
Director Gabbard, thank you. So just to,
So it's on Pam Bondi.
two questions, but to begin on that. The president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I'm not an attorney, but as I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document
Yep.
that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
Let's
The Senate
go.
Intelligence Committee spent several years looking into this and unanimously agreed in a bipartisan fashion, Secretary of State Rubio was a member of that committee, that there was no political interference. There was a years-long Justice
didn't have the
Department
info.
investigation into this as well that also concluded no political interference. So help us, from a 50,000-foot level, explain, what do you now have that refutes those two conclusions?
I will encourage you, in my role as the Director of National Intelligence, my job, again, as I said when I came into this role, was to make sure that we are telling the truth to the American people and that we are ensuring that the intelligence community is not being politicized. So I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you in the media to conduct honest journalism and the American people to see for yourself in the documents that we've released now, close to 200 pages, that point in multiple references, multiple examples, to include comments that have been made by senior intelligence professionals, who are some still working within these agencies today, that confirm the conclusions that we have drawn, that President Obama directed an intelligence community assessment to be created to further this contrived false narrative that ultimately led to a years-long coup to try to undermine President Trump's presidency.
And it's your belief
John,
that
go
those
ahead.
two previous investigations missed that or covered it up?
I'm telling you to look at the evidence. Look at the evidence and you will know the truth.
John.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks, Director Gabbard. You declassified these documents, if I'm not mistaken, Friday of last week, correct?
We released them on Friday of last week, the first tranche, yes.
This isn't the first time that President Trump has been president of the United States. He was president from 2017 to 2021. Couldn't the prior DNI under President Trump have declassified these documents? And why didn't that DNI do that?
Someone's got to do the work. It's a lot of work.
I can't speak to what happened there. There were several DNIs under the first Trump administration. President Trump faced many challenges from those who were working in the government who sought to undermine his presidency. That's been clearly detailed. What I can speak to is the fact that this was one of the first things that we started to investigate here within this Trump administration and have released the results upon the conclusion of our investigation.
And then my second question has to do with what intelligence agencies around the world have said about Russia, that they have tried to influence elections in the United States, in France, in Germany, in the UK. Do you disagree with that? Do you believe that Russia is a bad actor as it relates to trying to influence elections?
I'll point back to the intelligence that President Trump has ordered declassified, that we have declassified and released, that the intelligence reflects Russia's motives were to try to sow discord and chaos within the U.S. election, which is a clear distinction from showing a preference for or against a specific candidate, which is what the Obama manufactured intelligence document alleges, that Russia preferred Donald Trump and tried to help Donald Trump get elected. Again, going back to the most important point here, with the intent to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump's election and therefore subvert the will of the American people who chose to send him to the White House.
Reagan.
Director Gabbard, Reagan Race with the Daily Caller. You laid out that the documents revealed that the Obama administration did not publish a December 2016 presidential daily briefing that demonstrated that Russia did not steal the election. Trump was receiving these briefings at the time because he was president-elect. Are you of the view that that information was kept out of the briefing because then President-elect Donald Trump would have seen it?
I don't have any documents
Of
that
course,
speak to
yes.
exactly what the new guidance was that
Of
was
course.
given as the reason for pulling that document, which, by the way, still has never been published until we released it last week, Friday. One could assume that they didn't want President Trump to see a document that came from the intelligence community that would contradict the Russia hoax narrative that began through the Hillary Clinton campaign with the Steele dossier.
One more, maybe either for you or Caroline. The president said yesterday that Obama committed treason. Do you or the White House believe that the Supreme Court's immunity decision protects Obama from prosecution?
No.
I can speak to the president's feelings on this matter. He spoke to all of you yesterday in the Oval Office, but I also spoke to him about this
Treason.
morning. And he wants to see all those who perpetuated this fraud against our country, who betrayed our country and the Constitution, to be thoroughly investigated and held accountable. And it's been 10 years of this. And I would just add, based on everything the director has said and declassified, all of you in this room should go through it and take a look at this report and review the
We're gonna do that
intelligence,
today.
because unfortunately that hasn't happened. And many of the people who perpetuated this hoax, Clapper, Andy McCabe, James Comey, and many others, have been hired by major networks in this room to go on television and continue to spew these lies, knowing that they are lies. And if you all recall, just flashback to 2016 and the years after, the entire Trump 1 presidency was embroiled in this scandal that was perpetuated by the Democrat Party.
It was.
And you had major Democrat Party officials in this city, namely Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, who went on television and told the American people Donald Trump is an asset of Russia. It was a lie. They always knew it. Hillary Clinton herself said that President Trump would be a puppet for Putin. Senator Tim Kaine at the time called President Trump Vladimir Putin's defense lawyer. Adam Schiff stated, and one of the worst things a lawmaker can do is to tell the American people, I know something you don't know, it's just classified and I can't tell you. And that's what he said. I can tell you that the case is more than that. I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. And not enough people in this room, not enough journalists in this country pushed Adam Schiff to say, what are you talking about? What evidence do you have? Everybody just ran with the lies, and it led to impeachments. It led to the division of our country. Unfortunately, so many Americans, from listening to outlets in this room, believed in these lies. And it's a complete scam, and it's a scandal, and the president wants to see accountability for that. Phil.
Thank you. Question for Director Gabbard. A spokesperson for former President Obama said in a statement earlier this week, quote, nothing in the documents issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes.
He's panicking.
How do you respond to critics like
Obama
former
is
President
panicking.
Obama and also others on the Hill who say that the administration is conflating apples and oranges here, conflating allegations of actual hacking of voter machines and allegations of interference generally?
I think it's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal and negative action towards the American people and our democratic republic. The answer to that statement can very clearly be found throughout all of the documents that we have released. Again, showing that Russia has took action to try to sow discord in the election, but showed no preference for or against any singular candidate.
You've long been an opponent of weaponization in government. How do you respond to criticism that referring Obama administration officials and even potentially the former president is just more weaponization?
Oh,
and this
shut
is
up.
A potential race to the bottom?
Shut up.
I think that's a very disrespectful attack on the American people who deserve the truth. They deserve to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic republic, which has been undermined by President Obama through his direction of this manufactured fake intelligence document, knowing that it was filled with lies and knowing that it would and could then be used for all of the actions that came after.
And I would just add, there needs to be accountability
Yes.
for that weaponization, Phil, that we've seen.
That's right.
And no one has been a victim
Yep.
of the weaponized government more than President Trump, not just because of this political scandal. You all recall his house was raided. So I think,
We're gonna talk
it's
about
very
that today.
disingenuous for people to say, how dare they speak of former President Obama about this based on evidence and based on intelligence when the former president of the United States, Donald Trump's home was raided, when he was forced to sit in a Manhattan courtroom and many other courtrooms across the country for crimes he never committed, when he was impeached and indicted, and the entire country witnessed that. That's the weaponization of justice. Now the president is back because the American people see the truth. Nearly 80 million Americans reelected him back to this office, and he believes that we need to have justice and accountability. And I think the nearly 80 million Americans who reelected him agree with that. Caitlin.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions for Director Gabbard, just on this. Director Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said
They
that your
didn't have all the
intelligence
info.
assessments were wrong?
Well, first, I want to correct something that you stated, which was
CNN for you.
citing the Senate Intelligence Committee's report as being one and the same. I think you said the intelligence community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak to Secretary Rubio.
I'll speak to both questions. First, on Secretary Rubio, he put out a statement in 2020 following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this, that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies that were never true. And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under Comey, particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign.
Yep.
As for your second question, Caitlin, I
the
think
DNC.
who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has said that?
Well, the president has publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One on camera.
The only people who are suggesting
Michael
that the
P.
Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet, and it is not
True.
working.
Directed by the Attorney General Bill Barr at the time.
I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day. He has the utmost confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to. And that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made. Does anyone else have questions for
Caitlin
Director
Collins
Gabbard? And then
for
we'll
you.
turn it over to a couple other questions. Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Director Gabbard, two follow-ups on questions that have been asked. You mentioned the previous DNIs during the president's first term. One of them reports to you right now, if I'm not mistaken, John Ratcliffe. So have you not spoken to him about why this information was not declassified during the first term?
He was in that position for a very short period of time. The work that began back then, we have picked up and absolutely completed. We are continuing to investigate this. Additional whistleblowers are now coming forward because they see an opportunity for the truth to come to light. And as Caroline said, for real accountability to be brought forward. The accountability is the essential part of this. We can show the truth, reveal the truth. The accountability needs to occur to be able to start to restore that trust in the integrity of our democracy.
And then just quickly, I know you said you would leave the charging to DOJ, but the statute of limitations on conspiracy is 5 years. So what else could they possibly pursue besides treason?
I think that's a great question for Attorney General Pam Bondi. We're providing all of the evidence, all of the intelligence that we have, both redacted and unredacted versions, referring it to the Department of Justice and the FBI.
We'll take one more. Charlie, go ahead.
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's health? The report said that it was from sourced from the DNC. Have you seen that information, or do you think that maybe Russia was overemphasizing what they had?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information, some of which I detailed here. You'll find the rest in the report, prior to the election to help Donald Trump win. They specifically withheld what they had on her, the most damning information, because they thought that she would win the election. They had plans to release it just prior to her inauguration to, again, sow discord and chaos in America.
And if I may, on Jeffrey Epstein, can you rule out that he was connected in some way
Thank you, Aaron.
to any kind of intelligence, either foreign or domestic?
I haven't seen any evidence or information that reflects that. If anything comes before me that changes that in any way, support the president's statement loud and clear. If any credible evidence comes forward, he wants the American people to see it.
Great. Director
Okay.
Gabbard, we thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time today. I know you're a busy woman,
Okay.
so we'll let you get out of here, but thank you so much. Okay. I know there's many issues going on today across the world and here at home. If you have any other further questions, I'm happy to take them. Ed, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. So the Japan trade deal, is that Japan trade deal the start of this number of trade deals that the Treasury Secretary says we're going to see by August?
Folks, real quick.
I think it is. I mean, as you said, we had Japan yesterday. We also had Indonesia, and we had the
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, real quick. We are going to listen to the rest of this press conference. They're talking about the Japanese trade deal right now. After the press conference is done here, I have a whole show ready for you guys, ready to go. We have a lot to talk about regarding Epstein, the ongoing Obamagate scandal, and also how it's all related. There was a lot of crossover here. We're going to break it all down. We have a lot to talk about, but we're going to get through this first.
Japan will now pay a 15%
Lots to
tariff
talk about.
versus the reciprocal rate of 24% that they initially had. Auto and auto parts tariffs have been reduced to 15%. But the centerpiece of this deal now is the president got Japan to commit to $550 billion in investments to revitalize American industries. And these funds will be spent at President Trump's discretion and direction into key industries such as energy, semiconductors, critical minerals, pharmaceuticals, and shipbuilding, and the U.S. will retain 90% of the profits from any investments made by this $550 billion fund. This was originally a $400 billion investment that President Trump then negotiated to an increase of $150 billion, making it a $550 billion deal for the American people. And I just want to emphasize, Ed, I see you have a follow-up, but it's very important. Japan has agreed to open their markets to many very key sectors and American-made products that have really faced very strict tariff and non-tariff barriers prior. So thanks to the president, Japan's markets will now be open to American-made products and goods. This is big news for our tech companies and our farmers as well.
On Monday, the Treasury Secretary is going to Stockholm to talk to the Chinese delegation. What does the president hope to get out of that meeting? Are there deliverables?
I won't speak to any deliverables or set expectations. I'll let the Secretary of Treasury do that. But I did speak to him yesterday about his upcoming trip, and he looks forward to continuing discussions with his Chinese counterparts. The president has ensured that we have a good continuing working relationship with China that benefits the United States. And so the Secretary of Treasury will be obviously discussing those key matters, but I'll let him set the expectations.
One more, if I may.
Sure.
Given what the DNI just said and laid out, does President Trump believe that President Obama should go to jail for something?
Look, the president believes that this matter needs to be thoroughly investigated, and anyone convicted of crime should be held accountable in this country.
He should go to jail.
Special Envoy Wickoff is headed overseas again.
Good to see you, Olivia.
Good to
I
see
haven't
you.
seen you since the campaign trail.
Yeah, it's good to see you. He's headed back overseas. Can you give us a sense of what the marching orders are to some of the people he'll be meeting with, and specifically as it relates to Gaza and ongoing talks there?
Yes, Special Envoy Wickoff is headed to Europe, where he will meet with key leaders from the Middle East to discuss the ongoing ceasefire proposal to end this conflict in Gaza and to release the hostages. These are very sensitive negotiations that are currently taking place. I spoke to Special Envoy Wickoff last night about them. I will let him speak further on the matter, but the President and Special Envoy Wickoff has made the administration's goals clear. We want this ceasefire to happen as soon as possible, and we want these hostages to be released. Go ahead.
Carolyn, a Florida federal judge has refused to allow the Epstein grand jury materials to be released. Does the president want the administration or Department of Justice to appeal that ruling?
That was just breaking as the director and I were coming out here, so I haven't had a chance to talk to the president about it. I understand there are 2 other requests from the Department of Justice that are ongoing, but I'll let this president speak to whether he wants to see an appeal. And the Department of Justice, I'm sure, can give you a statement on that as well.
The Epstein grand jury files got shut down, the release of them, 30 minutes ago.
Earlier this week.
The president spoke to this yesterday, and he said he thinks it's an appropriate idea. Kelly.
What is the accountability that you would like to see if the current president is the one who brought the case to the Supreme Court and Chief Justice Roberts made clear in his opinion that a sitting president's responsibilities in office cannot lead to prosecution, immunity? So what is it the President Trump wants regarding President Obama, given that fact? And the special counsel at the time, Durham, when that Supreme Court matter was not in effect, could have charged anyone and did not. So on those 2 points, how do you respond?
Look, the president has made it clear that he wanted these documents to be declassified. He wanted the American people to see the truth, and now he wants those who perpetuated these lies and this scandal to be held accountable. As for what accountability looks like, as the director said, it's in the Department of Justice's hands, and we trust them to move this ball forward.
Well, you would agree
Stephanie.
President Obama cannot be charged based on that immunity.
Again, I'll leave that to the Department of Justice. Stephanie.
In light of the Japan deal, are sectoral tariffs now up for
A
negotiation?
statute of limitations on treason. I just don't really care.
Are these negotiators asking for
We gotta hold these people
sort of like
accountable.
what Japan had agreed to?
As for
my
sectoral
opinion.
tariffs, I understand that the president continues to be in talks with our Secretary of Commerce. We have made commitments on various sectoral tariffs, as you know. The Department of Commerce has initiated studies to then move forward with implementing those sectoral tariffs. So I would defer you to them for further comment. Meredith.
I wanted to ask if the White House has any update on the Commerce Department employee who's been detained or banned from exiting China, and if there are any efforts to get him out.
I can assure you and the American people that the administration is actively monitoring the situation and engaged, but typically we don't comment on individual cases like this as we are sorting them out. Sure.
Yes.
Behind you, Dr. Harper, sorry. Go ahead, to the lady
Good
sitting down in
afternoon.
the blue, yes.
Thanks,
What's your name?
Caroline.
What's your name?
My name is Caroline also. Caroline Boda with the Center Square.
Great.
So Republicans in the Senate today said that they are pulling back on legislation to impose sanctions on Russia after the president said he wants to act unilaterally. Can you elaborate on what the president intends to do?
Look, the president has been in very close communication with his friends in the Senate, particularly Senator Lindsey Graham, on this issue. But the president has always maintained, he's the commander-in-chief and the president for a reason, and he has been deeply involved in this conflict since the beginning. And so any decisions that are made with respect to sanctions, the president wants to reserve that authority and that right to himself. Jasmine.
Thanks, Caroline. 2 questions for you. The first on AI. Does President Trump support federal agencies contracting with Elon Musk's AI company?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so he would want the DOJ to then cancel the contract with Roth.
I'll talk to him about it, yes.
And my second question, just, obviously the developments with the Epstein case
Musk
with the
is
judge.
out.
But I wonder, has the White House counsel, the DOJ explored any other documents that could be released to the public that don't have to do with that grand jury testimony?
To my knowledge, the Department of Justice has moved forward with the request to unseal that grand jury testimony, and as you know, they have also moved forward with interviewing Ms. Maxwell, which I believe will be taking place very soon. Go ahead. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. I have a
Maxwell
question
thing is
about
curious.
Paul
We'll talk about that
Ingrassia, the OSC nominee who faces a Senate committee hearing tomorrow. Tom Tillis said that he wouldn't vote for Ingrassia if a vote came to the Senate floor. 24 worker advocacy groups have said that they don't support his nomination. What is the White House planning to do to sort of turn the tide or convince legislators that they should vote for him?
The White House is always in communication with members of both the Senate and the House, and we stand by the president's nominees. Sure.
In connection with the Mueller investigation, a grand jury indicted 13 Russians. President Putin has said he will never extradite those men. Given the new information that Ms. Gabbard has found, what's the administration's position on that case? Should those charges be dropped?
I don't have an update for you on that case, but I'll check in with the National Security Council, and our team will get you something. Sure.
Thank you so much. So Fannie Willis and Jack Smith separately, they both charged President Trump with conspiracy to defraud the United States and a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. And now it turns out we're confirming that Obama and his cronies were doing that the whole time in 2016 on a massive scale.
Interesting.
Falsifying documents and having their intel agencies do this. What does this say about the 2020 election? And also, what's your thoughts on the irony here?
There is a lot of irony, especially for the party of the Democrat Party, who claims to be for democracy. We often heard throughout the 2024 campaign they were calling this president a threat to democracy. And now I think the declassification of all of these documents proves that they were indeed the true threat to democracy. And as I said repeatedly today, there needs to be justice and accountability for that. You all will hear directly from the president later this afternoon at the AI Summit here in Washington, D.C., scheduled to speak later in a few hours. So we will see you all there. Thank you very much.
There it is. All right, folks. Wow, we just got a hell of a lot of news. I'm going to go ahead and just pause this here. Folks, I mean, here, what is the big takeaway here? The big takeaway here is that we now have undeniable, inarguable proof, evidence, confirming that Barack Obama himself ordered a new intelligence assessment regarding President Trump at the time, his alleged collusion with Russia, and that this new assessment was put together by just 5 CIA analysts, the leader of the CIA, Barack Obama himself, based off of fraudulent information from the Steele dossier, which was paid for by the Clinton campaign and the DNC. They cherry-picked, they handpicked it, they put it together to push this fraudulent Russian collusion narrative. Now, folks, okay, I want to get right to the controversial point here right out of the gate. I think this is what a lot of you guys have been waiting for, the degree to which this entire situation is involved with the Epstein situation at the moment. Now, I want to, I'm trying to change there it is. That's what I want to be. Okay, so I've been taking a look all over Twitter. Some people in the live chat have been saying this as well. And this is a fair question. I've been seeing this point brought up over and over and over again. Why did the Democrats forge the Epstein documents, which is President Trump's narrative right now, that the reason why none of us should care about the Epstein situation is because it's a Democrat psyop. The Democrats, they were in the White House for 4 years during the Biden era. They edited things. They put things in. They took things out. The entire situation is worthless because it's been so heavily edited by the Democrats, so who cares? But if they did that, if the Democrats did that, if they messed with the Epstein documents, then why did the Democrats not delete the records of the 2016 election interference, which is what we're talking about now today? We know for a fact the Democrats, Barack Obama, various members of the deep state, they did try to interfere with the 2016 election, and then they did put together a fake report pushing this fake news narrative that Trump was colluding with the Russians. So why did they, if I'm expected to believe all of this, why did the Democrats edit or modify the Epstein documents, but they did not delete the evidence, the records of their own 2016 election interference? How do you reconcile the two? Well, folks, let's break down the entire timeline. I jotted down some of my notes here. I want to read this with you guys and go through this. We're going to break it down. The answer is because Trump had already been in the White House for 4 years by the time that Joe Biden got back into the White House in 2021. And the Democrats were worried that Trump had already gathered proof of their plan to fabricate the Russian collusion hoax, meaning that they were worried if they started deleting files or editing files, that President Trump would be able to not only hold them accountable for trying to interfere with the 2016 election, but that he would also now be able to hold them accountable for deleting evidence or trying to cover their tracks. And by the way, they had good reason to be concerned about this. I want to show you a clip here because this is something that President Trump was talking about. This is a flashback to the 2020 debate. Take a look at this.
2 minutes. So when I listened to Joe talking about a transition, there's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won, from the day I came down the escalator with our first lady. They were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that because we caught you in a sense. And President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition.
Okay, so folks, this is a clip from the Joe Biden versus Donald Trump presidential debate in 2020, the end of 2020. Trump, by the end of his first term, he knew what they had done. He knew the Russia collusion thing was a hoax. Obviously, he knew that. President Trump knew that they had spied on him. They spied on his campaign. President Trump knew that the entire Russia collusion thing was fraudulent. It was a fake narrative. It was all manufactured to stop him and to undermine his presidency. The problem is, although he knew, I mean, if you're innocent, you know you're innocent. So he knew deep down, but he didn't have all of the paperwork and the files and the proper documentation to act as the final nail in the coffin. He knew, but he didn't have the hard concrete evidence. Okay? Now he does. Now he's got Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, keep in mind, it takes an incredible amount of time and boots on the ground and manpower to sift through all of these documents and connect the dots and piece everything together and put together a cohesive, damning narrative to hold them accountable. And he did, let's be honest, during his first presidential term, he didn't have the team to do that. He didn't have the apparatus, the support network to make that happen. Now he does. So although he knew, he didn't have the proof. Now he does. And so now we got to double back to the question, why didn't the Democrats delete this damning evidence that now we have? And we're going to go through all of this today. It's because they were worried that President Trump, they were worried that President Trump knew more than maybe he was letting on. They were worried that President Trump did, in fact, in his possession, have the proof or some documents that maybe sometime down the road he could piece together and hold them accountable. That's what they were worried about. And if you don't believe me, what happened in August of 2022? If you're like, hold up, Matt Morris, this is ridiculous. What happened in August of 2022? They raided his house. They weaponized, Joe Biden weaponized the FBI to conduct a raid on his Mar-a-Lago house, his estate. They were rifling through his drawers, through his closet, and now we know the reason why. What were they looking for? What were the Democrats looking for? They were looking to see if President Trump had files confirming the 2016 Obama-facilitated election interference. That's what they were panicking that Trump had in his possession proof that they had interfered with the 2016 election. That is why they carried out this they didn't even have a warrant. That is why they carried out this raid, because they were worried that President Trump, they got rid of him. Yeah, they kicked him out of the White House. They rigged the 2021 election. Yeah, but they were worried that still in his closet, he had files that would nail them to the cross, so to speak. And so they're like, listen, man, he might not have the entire story yet, But if he's got the proof tucked away in his underwear drawer, he might be able to piece this together tomorrow or the next day or the next day. We got to raid the compound just in case. And so, folks, that is why they didn't go and delete the files that now we have, the files that Tulsi Gabbard has released to us now over the last couple days, because they knew that if they started deleting files, maybe President Trump, maybe there's a 1 or 2 or 3 or 5% chance that President Trump has files that could prove that they were not only rigging the election, but also now deleting or manipulating evidence. And that is why they're freaking out. That is why they had to get rid of this guy in 2020. That's why they rigged the 2020 election. And that's why they raided his compound. Okay? And now it all makes sense. Trump was a loose end. Maybe. I mean, they didn't know that definitively Trump was a loose end or that Trump had information, but the 1% possibility that he did, that was enough for them to freak out. And that's why they raided the compound. And so that's why you have a difference here. Now, by the way, do I necessarily believe that the Democrats fabricated the Epstein files or inserted stuff or took stuff out? That I don't know. Maybe it's a possibility. I don't know. Maybe. Could be the truth. Could be the truth. That's what Trump is saying now. Take him at his word. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, we got to trust him, I guess, on that. But the original question is, hold up, wait a minute, Donald Trump. You expect me to believe that the Democrats manipulated the Epstein files, but that the Democrats also didn't delete the proof of the fact that they were rigging the 2016 election? Hold up. How do you make sense of that, Donald Trump? How dumb do you think I am? Really think about it. Think about the entire narrative that we just went through right here. It makes sense. It makes sense. They maybe they knew that they could get away with manipulating the Epstein files, but they were worried that Trump had proof that would be able to hold them accountable for deleting the 2016 stuff. Okay, so it's a little bit different here. Now, we have James Brock here. I want to take a look at this. I don't think that treason is among Obama's official duties. Yeah, I don't think that's what he was voted to do. I don't think that's what he was voted for to do. Don't forget to try to take his head off. I think it's a part of it also. That's a part of it also. Okay. Hold up. I see this comment. I have to address this. You're better at news than political speculation. You trying out for InfoWars today. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I expressing a belief that you don't like and now you're going to be mad about it? Listen, hey, this is my show. This is my channel. If it bothers you that on my show that I give you my opinion on my show, if that bothers you, then I would suggest leaving. You can just leave. You don't need to be here. Anyway, oh my God, the entitlement of some people in the chat. Hey, on your show, stop giving your opinion. Or maybe you can just leave my show. It's not your show, it's my show. You can leave. Anyway, man, the entitlement is what gets me every single time. It bothers me. I'm sorry. It's a personal flaw. I have to call these people out. I'm sorry. That's my problem. Anyway, we're going to move on. Now, folks, what I want to do is I want to go point for point. Tulsi Gabbard, of course, we heard from her a little bit earlier today during this press conference. Very important. We got a lot of very important news. Tulsi Gabbard also earlier on in the day released, oh my gosh, it's just point for point debunking this entire Democrat hoax, this narrative. And I want to go through with you guys. Okay, this is Tulsi Gabbard 3 or 4 hours ago. New evidence has emerged of the most egregious weaponization and politicization of intelligence in American history. Per President Donald Trump's directive, I have declassified a House Intelligence Oversight Majority Staff report that exposes how the Obama administration manufactured, I want everybody to be able to read this, manufactured the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that they knew was false, promoting the lie that Vladimir Putin and the Russian government helped President Trump win the 2016 election. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people, working with their partners in the media to promote the lie in order to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump, essentially enacting a years-long coup against him. Carl Mosher, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's go through this. So the lie was Putin and the Russian government helped President Trump win the 2016 election. The truth is, however, President Obama, former director of the CIA John Brennan, and others fabricated the Russia hoax, suppressed intelligence showing Putin was actually preparing for a Clinton victory. I think most people were preparing a Clinton victory. I mean, you guys might remember there's the infamous political poll from just a couple days before Trump won the election in 2016. It said, Hillary Clinton, 94% chance of winning. Almost nobody thought that President Trump was going to win the election. We did. I did. You guys did. I'm sure a lot of you guys did. We saw it coming. We knew what was happening. Russia was preparing for a Clinton victory. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They disobeyed the intelligence community standards, and they knowingly lied to the American people. Lie. The fabricated Steele dossier was not used as a source in the Obama administration's January 2017 intelligence community assessment of the November 2016 election. So we all know the Steele dossier is a load of bullcrap. It was compiled. I mean, pretty much what happened was the DNC and the Clinton campaign in 2016, they paid Steele to put together this fake dossier full of fake news information, tenuous at best information, suggesting Trump was a Russian asset. They paid him $13 million to do this. And as we now know, the 2017 intelligence community actually referenced this fake news dossier, whereas they said that they didn't. Not only did CIA Director John Brennan, FBI Director James Comey, and the Director of National Intelligence Clapper and others include the Steele dossier in the 2017 intelligence community assessment, they overruled senior intelligence officials who warned them that it was fabricated and should not be used. So all of their top advisors were saying, hey, listen, Brennan, Comey, Clapper, listen, this Steele dossier, this is bullcrap. This is bogus. This is completely fabricated information. You should not rely on this. And they said, we're going to do it anyway. And so now we know that that's the proof, or that that's the case. Another lie that Tulsi Gabbard highlights here: the Obama administration's January intelligence community assessment was an independent intelligence community product produced with apolitical analysis. That is a load of bullcrap. The truth is, Obama himself ordered the intelligence community to create an intelligence community assessment they knew was false, promoting a contrived narrative with the intent of undermining the legitimacy and power of a duly elected president of the United States, President Trump. Together, they released records on Friday. And so there's the conclusion. The Russia hoax was a lie that was knowingly created by the Obama administration to undermine the legitimacy and power of the duly elected president of the United States of America. By the way, real quick super chat. We have from James LaQuay. Thank you for exercising your First Amendment right and getting this info, your point of view out there for others to think about. You're a good American, James. Back at you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Listen, over here, I will die on this hill. Guys, over here on the right side of the aisle, we are supposed to be the First Amendment, free speech absolutist. It's a free marketplace of ideas. We share our thoughts. It's open discussion. So whenever I see somebody in the chat that's like, hey, shut up. Hey, I don't like your idea. You need to shut up and stop talking. It's like, hold up, wait a minute, dude. You might be better off tuning into some progressive podcast. Listen, dude, we're on the right side of the aisle. If you don't like free speech, if you don't like that people over here we are expressing our ideas and trying to make sense of what's going on, we're using our brain, we're critical thinkers, you might be better off. You should have voted for Kamala Harris. Let me put it that way. Maybe you are tuning into the wrong broadcast, buddy. So, James, I'm happy you're here. I appreciate that. I'm happy everybody's here. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I have to call it out. I got to call it out. Thank you very much. Now, we saw yesterday afternoon that Donald Trump directly called out Barack Obama for committing treason. He said it's treason. Take a look as a little bit of a recap of what happened yesterday.
From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there. Brennan. They were all there in a room. Right here. This was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up that came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful.
You brought out the gold.
We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama.
I mean, guys, we've got his signature. President Trump is the guy that pulled the trigger on this entire situation. He was the shot caller. President, just to be clear, President Obama explicitly called for the manufacture of a fake intelligence report to subvert the democratic will of the American people, to undermine the result of the 2016 election, and to effectively stage a coup against President Trump. We have him. We know he did that. This is a fact of the matter. This is undeniable. Listen, I don't care. Even if you are the biggest Kamala Harris voter in the world, even if you work at CNN, I don't care. You have to acknowledge we got him. Like, I'm sorry. This is what happened. This is reality. We're living in reality. He did this. Obama did that.
Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they... Look, he's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. Treason. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries.
Now, somebody in the live chat brought up an interesting point here about 20 minutes ago, and I want to double back and bring this up with you guys. So, Caitlin Collins, during this press conference, she said there's a certain statute of limitations for certain charges, 5 years. This happened 9 years ago. How are you going to hold Barack Obama accountable, even if he did do this? What's up? Maybe he's off scot-free. The Constitution explicitly says there's no presidential pardon that can excuse treason. Treason doesn't have a statute of limitations. Treason can't be pardoned. So what is the angle here? Why are we hearing from our Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, from Donald Trump? Why are we hearing from the entire Trump administration the T word? That's a powerful word, the T word, because the Constitution says if you commit treason, you're done. There's no way you're getting off treason. If you're tried and found guilty of treason, you're not getting out of this. Okay, there's no statute of limitations. You can't be pardoned out of it. You're done. Treason, that's a big deal. And by the way, okay, just a little bit of a historical recap here. We're going to dig back, but also look at some recent stuff. I want to give you some examples of people that have been successfully tried for treason and also what happened to them. We're going to go back first off to 1859. In 1859, an American citizen, so this is a while ago, in 1859, an American citizen tried to raid and hijack a federal arsenal building in order to arm a bunch of insurrectionists. He was tried, he was found guilty of treason, and he was executed. He was executed because that's what happens to traitors. In 1953, so 70 years ago or so, in 1953, 2 American citizens were caught giving intelligence to the Soviet Union during the Cold War, both of whom were caught, detained, tried, convicted, treason. Both of them were executed because that's what you do with traitors. They were executed. In 2006, 20 years ago, 19 years ago, pretty recent, an American citizen in 2006 left the country and joined Al-Qaeda, and he actually helped Al-Qaeda produce a bunch of anti-American propaganda videos in which he was calling for the death of Americans. You know what we did? We blew him up in a targeted drone strike. We killed him. Because that's what, and by the way, he was convicted. He was tried of treason. We weren't able to apprehend him, so we blew him up with a drone. So he was executed. In essence, he was executed. So this is the sort of history, a brief history of convicted traitors in this country. Treason, the T word, is a pretty serious crime. It's a pretty serious allegation, and we treat this pretty seriously. So This is what President Trump is angling for here. Treason. What punishment does that carry? Not a good one. Not a good one at all. It's a FAFO moment. And by the way, Menz, I appreciate that. Liebe dein Channel. We have a Deutsch Wir haben ein Deutsch Zuschauer. Willkommen aus mein Channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mein Deutsch Bruder. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ich spreche kleine Deutsch. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, thank you. Now we're going to move on. Steve Bannon. I want to play the Steve Bannon clip from you. Steve Bannon gives his opinion on this. Take a look at this, folks. I think you're going to like this.
Obama would not be out trying to defend himself. He didn't realize he got a big problem. When a president of the United States in the Oval Office, next to a head of state who's here on a very important visit, the Philippines are one of the linchpins to our strategy against the Chinese Communist Party, and on global television, because they're all following those pressers, says that he's guilty of treason. That's a big event. It was big enough, the mainstream media, oh, this is just Trump's crazy talk. They started serious enough that Obama's spokesman immediately came out and tried to give this fluffy misdirection thing, which was nothing but a, wait for it, bald-faced lie. So we're now into this thing. And I think you're going to see what John Solomon said about a federal task force. I think you're going to see either a special prosecutor or one of these U.S. attorneys solely assigned to get to the bottom of all this, including the Epstein situation.
So what is he saying? What's the takeaway here? The takeaway here is Obama is freaking out. This is the takeaway. The only reason Obama issued this statement the other day, and we're going to actually break this statement from Obama down here in just a minute. Obama is notoriously kind of publicly uninvolved. Of course, everybody knows Obama's trying to pull the strings behind the scenes, but Obama publicly, he's not really a guy to issue statements. He did yesterday. In fact, he did yesterday within about 2 hours of President Trump saying treason, treason, treason. Within 2 hours, President Trump issues a public statement. And I want to break this down with you guys. I saw a great write-up dissecting this entire situation. Take a look at this. Barack Hussein Obama finally issued a rare official response to Trump and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and it is very telling. Why? Trump has stated plainly, Obama and his gang committed treason by fomenting the Trump-Russia hoax, and Tulsi Gabbard has now delivered the truth. We know, we have the proof. We know that that's what he did. It's undeniable. Then Obama's office released this statement. Nothing in the Tulsi Gabbard released document undercuts the narrative that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. Well, listen, do you see it? They are shifting the goalposts because it's true that Obama and his intelligence state did decide that Russia was using cyber activity to influence the election for Trump. Trump would be correct, along with Tulsi Gabbard, in saying this is a treasonous conspiracy. So the statement released by Obama, it doesn't explicitly deny, it doesn't explicitly deny what Trump is accusing Obama of doing. This statement, it was perfectly rhetorically crafted, word for word, to obfuscate away from the entire issue at hand. Okay? It's a sleight of hand if you pay attention. They are shifting goalposts because if it's true that Obama and his intel state did decide that Russia was using cyber activity to influence the election for Trump, and we know that they did, that was entirely fabricated, then Trump would be correct. So this is a tacit admission. Quote, did not successfully manipulate votes is what they said. That is tangential to the original narrative from the Obama deep state. A large portion of the American public was initially led to believe that Trump got elected based on Russia's cyber activities. Quote, these claims are outrageous enough to merit a response. He says, yeah, that's code for, quote, we're scared shitless that Tulsi Gabbard is actually doing it. This is a huge deal, and Obama coming out on this bombshell speaks volumes. It means that Trump and Tulsi are getting warmer. I mean, warmer. I think we are as hot. How warm are we are standing on the surface of the sun. Okay, this is not warm. This is hot. This is nuclear hot. We're not getting warmer. I mean, we have the proof. We know what he did. Now the question is anybody going to be held accountable? Okay, we're hot. We know what he did. We have the proof. We have the documentation. It's been laid out. We have 2 releases now a couple days ago and also today from Tulsi Gabbard. We know that he did this. We know that Obama and his boys did this. The question remains, is anybody going to be held accountable? Now, we also have some additional news from what got released today by Tulsi Gabbard. I just want to go back and go through all of this. This is what we saw today. A little bit tangential, but worth talking about also. Page 17 of the declassified House Intelligence Committee report is wild. This is part of what we got today. It reveals that Russia had huge amounts of potential anti-Clinton dirt that it actually sat on in the final days of the 2016 campaign. It included, and men's, by the way, I appreciate that. Thank you. You're a supporter now. I appreciate that. This is what the House Intelligence Committee determined in 2016. I'm sorry, it was actually in 2020, but anyway, internal claims that Hillary Clinton was on, quote, heavy tranquilizers and suffering, quote, intensified psycho-emotional problems. Shocking, really, wow, Hillary Clinton is suffering from intensified psycho-emotional problems? I never would have guessed. Who here remembers the video clip? It must have been from 2016 on the campaign trail, where Hillary Clinton is leaving some event and she's walking into a van and she like freezes up and she stumbles and she actually gets picked up and propped up by 2 members of the Secret Service. You've got one guy holding up one arm and another guy holding up the other arm. Does anybody remember that clip, or am I making this up? Yeah, this chick, she has issues. She was on heavy tranquilizers, God knows what else, I don't know, but people saw that clip 9 years ago and it was like, man, what the hell is going on here? Move on. Evidence of severe health ailments like type 2 diabetes and ischemic heart disease. Okay, so yeah, she has multiple issues. Heavy tranquilizers, intensified psycho-emotional problems, type 2 diabetes, and ischemic heart disease. Folks, keep in mind, listen, this was 5 days ago. The entire Democrat media apparatus, they were up in arms. President Trump, his ankles are swollen and he's got makeup on his hand. Did you guys see this? And then actually President Trump, the Trump admin, came out and directly said, yeah, he's got some issue. It's non-fatal. He's in perfect health, but he had some ankle swelling. This was big drama 5 days ago, according to the Democrats. Meanwhile, they not only covered up Joe Biden's mental health issues and all of his other issues, just a couple months ago, frankly, less than a year ago, but also on the 2016 campaign trail, they were covering up Hillary Clinton's health issues. Another classic case of rules for me, rules for thee, but not for me. Classic progressive Democrat projection, manipulation of information. Internal DNC communications that Obama and others found Hillary's health extraordinarily alarming. Yeah, I mean, it is. Evidence of secret meetings with religious leaders where Clinton offered, quote, significant increase in funding from the State Department in return for their support. Which religious leaders? We heard Tulsi Gabbard say this earlier today, and now we're actually reading through all of this. So Hillary Clinton on the 2016 campaign trail was promising religious leaders money from the State Department if they would support her on the campaign trail. Who? I want to know, who was she trying to make deals with? Curious. Another bullet point here. Internal Democrat admissions that European allies were unenthusiastic about a Clinton presidency and thought that she was not up to the job of head of state president. Why would the Europeans not be enthusiastic about a Hillary Clinton presidency? Well, what happened in 2014 during Barack Obama's presidency? Russia took the Crimean Peninsula under the leadership of Barack Obama. What happened in 2021, maybe February of 2022, I think actually. Yeah, what happened in February of 2022 under Joe Biden's leadership? Russia invaded Ukraine. And so obviously the Europeans are not happy about the Russian aggression in Eastern Europe. That's something we know that they're super concerned about. And so, yeah, like they were probably scared that if Hillary Clinton gets in office, then Russia is going to start invading everybody. Okay, maybe a valid concern or maybe not. But anyway, that would make sense from the European point of view, at least. That's the European perspective. If Russia was really all in on supporting Trump and hurting Clinton, it would have leaked all of this information in October 2016 when her lead in the RCP average slipped to just 1.3%. Very true. Very true. So right now, and this is what we now know, we heard DNI Tulsi Gabbard an hour ago talk about this, and now we're reading through the notes, Tulsi's report, and now, various commentary here. Russia was expecting Clinton to win. Russia genuinely thought Clinton was going to win. And they also wanted her to win. If Russia did not want Clinton to win, then they could have released a ton of information. Russia had dirt on Clinton, and they chose not to release it because they wanted her in office. That is the truth here. Now, sorry for the flashbang. Flashbang. This is an article coming out with Fox News. Guys, the rabbit hole just keeps going deeper here. Brennan, maybe we actually don't need to read through this, honestly, because I think this is probably just doubling down on everything that we have already heard today. The intelligence community did not have any direct information that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to help elect Donald Trump during the 2016 election. But at the, quote, unusual direction of then President Barack Obama, who published a potentially biased and implausible intelligence suggesting otherwise, the House Intelligence Committee found. So, this is just stuff that we've heard before. At this point, guys, we have the final nail in the coffin. Listen, this is kind of the way that I look at this. I think it's probably about time to kind of wrap up here, but this is really the final take here. We have the final nail in the coffin. Tulsi Gabbard has done her job. She's the director of national intelligence. For the last 6 months, she has been sifting meticulously through all of these files. She's put together the team to figure this out. And we know. We have the final nail in the coffin. Now it's been handed over to Pam Bondi at the DOJ. There's one final thing that has to be done. The coffin, if Tulsi Gabbard nailed the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, now Pam Bondi has to lower the coffin 6 feet into the ground and bury it. Okay, so we have the proof. We know what happened. We have the evidence. Now it depends on whether or not Tulsi Gabbard is going to, on her end, deliver results and actually start holding these people accountable and trying them for treason. We're at the 5 yard. We're 5 yards away from the end zone. She's got to run it up and get the touchdown now. But Tulsi Gabbard has done her job. So that is kind of all the breaking news regarding this entire situation for the day. I want to say thank you all very much. Today was a crazy show, but really a bombshell show. That much we can say. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you guys are new to the broadcast, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and make sure to go down and hit the like button on today's live stream as well. Also, do me a favor before we go, everybody please go ahead and follow my Twitter page. That really is the best place to be to get all the breaking news updates, what's going on. That's where I broadcast everything out. Thank you guys very much. We're doing our best to keep on top of all of this over here. So thanks for, you guys are helping me out. So thank you guys a whole lot. Thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great afternoon. Everybody have a great evening. I think I'll probably have a video for you guys on the YouTube channel here later today. So make sure to check for that in a couple hours and have a great afternoon. Thank you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys.